If you look at a map of South America, your eyes go immediately to the two giants of the region, Brazil to the east, Argentina to the south. But right between them, tucked into the heart of the continent, sits Paraguay. At first glance, it looks like a footnote, a leftover piece of land that didn't quite belong to anyone else. But here's the first thing that surprises people. Paraguay is bigger than Germany, bigger than Japan, bigger than the entire state of Montana. It has some of the most fertile soil on Earth, a subtropical climate with vast river systems, one of the world's largest reserves of fresh water, and natural grasslands and forests that stretch as far as the eye can see. By every geographic measure, Paraguay should be packed with people. But when you switch the map to show where people actually live, something appears that stops you cold. Paraguay has just 7 million people. The city of Lima by itself has more residents than this entire country, and nearly a third of those 7 million people are compressed into a single metropolitan area at the far western edge of the country. One city, one dot on the map, Asunción. The rest of this vast, fertile, beautiful territory, practically empty. So why does a country with extraordinary land, political stability, and one of the fastest growing economies in Latin America have almost nobody living in it? And why are thousands of Americans quietly moving to the parts that everyone else is ignoring? That's what we're going to find out today. To understand Paraguay's empty map, you have to go back to the rivers. During the colonial era, the Paraguay River was one of the most strategically important waterways in all of South America. Spain fought hard to control it. The reason was simple. Right here, at this exact bend in the river, sat one of the finest natural harbors in the interior of the entire continent. When Spanish conquistador Juan de Salazar founded Asunción in 1537, every infrastructure decision was built around that river port. Look at Paraguay's railway network. Every line starts somewhere in the interior and ends in the same place, Asunción. Look at the major highways, same pattern. Every road leads to the capital. When waves of European immigrants arrived in the late 1800s and early 1900s, Germans, Italians, Ukrainians, they did not spread across the territory. They stayed near the river, near the trade routes. Asunción had the jobs, the factories, the university, the banks. The interior had grass and forest, and so the capital became a magnet so powerful that it has never stopped pulling. Now leave Asunción behind and look at the interior. To the east, gently rolling hills, some of the most productive agricultural land on Earth. To the west, the Chaco, a vast subtropical wilderness covering nearly 60% of Paraguay's territory. No mountains blocking settlement in the east, no unbridgeable barrier of any kind. The land is some of the most naturally productive on the planet. So why are there no cities here? The answer is soy and cattle. From the very beginning of colonization, Paraguay's interior was transformed into one giant agricultural operation. The natural grasslands and forests were perfect for raising cattle and growing soybeans at massive scale. But both industries require enormous amounts of land and almost no people. Enormous estancias, ranches, and farms covering thousands of acres, controlled by a small number of wealthy families and multinational corporations. A single operation could manage tens of thousands of acres with just a handful of workers. No need for farming villages, no need for market towns. The interior became what geographers call a green desert, productive, profitable, and almost completely empty of human beings. Today, the numbers tell the story perfectly. Paraguay has approximately 14 million cattle and just 7 million people. The cows outnumber the humans 2-to-1. But the cattle and the geography are only half the story. Paraguay went through something far more dramatic than a demographic transition. In 1864, the country was dragged into a catastrophic war against the combined forces of Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. By the time the War of the Triple Alliance ended in 1870, estimates suggest Paraguay lost between half and 2/3 of its entire population. Up to 90% of its adult male population may have been killed or died from disease and famine. The country was left with a population of women, children, and a devastated infrastructure. It took Paraguay over a century to recover even to its pre-war population levels. Today, Paraguay's population pyramid is still weighted young. The median age is just 27 years old, making it one of the youngest populations in all of South America. And then there's the third factor, immigration. Every time Paraguay experienced economic hardship or political instability, the same thing happened. Young, educated Paraguayans left for Buenos Aires, for Sao Paulo, for Spain, for the United States. Today, there are an estimated 800,000 to 1 million Paraguayans living abroad. In a country of 7 million, that's more than 10% of the entire population living outside its borders. Paraguay has been bleeding people for generations, and the map of its interior reflects every single departure. But here's where Paraguay's story takes an unexpected turn, because despite everything, the empty interior, the legacy of war, the immigration, Paraguay has quietly built something remarkable. Look at the economic growth indexes for Latin America. Paraguay has averaged around 3% annual GDP growth over the last decade, consistently outperforming the Latin American average. Its poverty rate has fallen from over 50% in 2003 to under 25% today, one of the most dramatic poverty reductions in the hemisphere. It is one of the only countries in the world that produces far more electricity than it consumes, exporting its surplus hydropower to neighbors and keeping its own energy costs extraordinarily low. Paraguay has avoided the currency crises and hyperinflation that have devastated neighboring Argentina and Brazil, maintaining controlled inflation for over 2 decades. It is the third largest exporter of soybeans and the 8th largest exporter of beef in the world. It has maintained a stable democracy for over 30 years. Paraguay managed to build a genuinely growing, stable economy with almost nobody in it, and almost nobody outside the region knows it exists. And that's exactly why Americans are starting to pay attention. Over the past decade, a quiet but growing wave of American retirees has been discovering what Paraguay's empty map actually means for them. Not a problem, an opportunity. Let me show you what I mean. Asunción's Villa Mora neighborhood sits in the heart of the capital. Tree-lined streets, modern restaurants, excellent shopping, contemporary apartments with city views, and rent for a comfortable one-bedroom apartment is $400 to $700 per month. A full meal at a local restaurant, including Paraguay's famous grilled meats and cold terere, costs $6 to $12 per person. Private health insurance for a retiree runs $50 to $150 per month. Here's what a comfortable monthly budget looks like in Asunción. Rent, $500 to $700. Food and dining out regularly, $200 to $350. Healthcare, $75 to $150. Transportation and entertainment, $100 to $200. Total, $875 to $1,400 per month. The average American Social Security check for a couple is approximately $2,800 to $3,200 per month. In Asunción, that covers everything and leaves money in savings every single month. But Asunción isn't the only option. Look south toward the Argentine border. Encarnación, Paraguay's fastest-growing city, sits on the banks of the wide Paraná River, looking across at Argentina, and has been transforming from a quiet border town into a modern international destination. Its renovated riverside boulevard, the Costanera, stretches along sandy beaches and hosts restaurants, cafes, and a promenade that feels like it belongs in a much larger city. Rent for a comfortable apartment here runs $300 to $500 per month. Fresh river fish and grilled beef at local restaurants cost $6 to $10 per person. The city also hosts the largest and most colorful carnival in Paraguay every February. And then there is San Bernardino, a colonial lakeside resort town sitting on the shores of Lake Ypacaraí, just 45 minutes from Asunción. Cobblestone streets, historic architecture, lakefront cafes, a pace of life that feels like stepping back in time. Rent here is $300 to $600 per month. For retirees who want quiet charm, natural beauty, and lake views at very low cost, San Bernardino is extraordinary. Now, let's talk about the practical side, because Paraguay offers something that most retirement destinations don't: a tax system specifically designed to attract foreign retirees. Paraguay operates on a territorial tax system. This means foreign income, including your United States pension, Social Security, and investment income, is not taxed in Paraguay. Your Social Security check arrives in full, your pension arrives in full, your investment income arrives in full. Paraguay does not touch any of it. Getting residency in Paraguay is among the fastest and simplest in all of Latin America. You apply through the Paraguayan Immigration Office, providing proof of income, a clean criminal record, and basic documentation. The process typically takes just 60 to 90 days. The retirement-based visa requires you to demonstrate sufficient income to support yourself, approximately $1,300 per month, which most American retirees easily meet with Social Security alone. This visa grants permanent residency directly from day one. After 3 years of permanent residency, you become eligible to apply for Paraguayan citizenship. Note that the total timeline from your first arrival, including processing, typically runs 5 to 7 years, but the path is clear and well established. Paraguayan citizenship comes with a passport that grants visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to approximately 145 countries, including the entire European Union, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and Japan. Paraguay's banking system is one of the more stable in Latin America. The country has maintained controlled inflation for over 2 decades and avoided the kind of currency crises that have devastated neighboring Argentina. United States dollars are widely accepted throughout the country, and converting dollars to Paraguayan guaraníes is straightforward at any bank or exchange house. Healthcare deserves special attention because it is the concern that stops most American retirees from making the move. Paraguay has a dual healthcare system, public and private. Legal residents can access the public system, which provides coverage at very low cost. Most expats choose the private system, which provides solid care at costs dramatically below those in the United States. Private health insurance runs $50 to $150 per month for a retiree. A private doctor consultation costs $15 to $50. An MRI that would cost $3,000 or more in the United States runs about $150 to $350 in Asunción. Dental work costs 60 to 80% less than in the United States, and Paraguay's private hospitals, particularly in Asunción, are equipped with modern technology and staffed by trained specialists. Many doctors in Asunción speak English, particularly in private facilities catering to international patients. Now, let's talk about something that matters just as much as the cost: community. Because retiring abroad alone without a support network is one of the biggest mistakes retirees make. Paraguay's expat community is small but growing rapidly. In Asunción's Villa Mora and Recoleta neighborhoods, there are established communities of American, European, and international retirees who already navigated the residency process, found the best doctors, and built social networks. English is spoken in international schools, expat-oriented businesses, and among the growing international community. Though learning basic Spanish and even a little Guarani will significantly enrich your experience and the lifestyle itself. Paraguay moves at a pace that most Americans have completely forgotten exists. Long lunches that stretch into the afternoon, evening walks along the riverside boulevards, weekend asados, barbecues that bring neighbors together for hours. The concept of rushing simply does not exist here. Paraguayans are known for being warm, family-oriented, and genuinely welcoming to foreigners. The national social ritual, sharing tereré, cold yerba mate, passed in a cup from person to person, is an invitation to belong that you will encounter every single day. The food culture is extraordinary. Paraguay produces some of the finest beef in the world, and a full parrilla dinner with local drinks costs $8 to $15 per person at a local restaurant. Fresh produce, artisan cheeses, and local food are available at neighborhood markets at prices that make American grocery bills look absurd. But here's what makes this moment particularly interesting. Paraguay is changing. For the first time in its history, real economic activity and international investment are flowing into the country in a serious way. The soy and cattle industries have created infrastructure across the eastern region. Encarnación is rapidly developing a year-round international community. Foreign investment, particularly from Brazil, Argentina, Europe, and increasingly the United States, is flowing into real estate, agriculture, and technology. Property prices in Paraguay remain dramatically lower than comparable destinations. A comfortable apartment in Asunción's best neighborhoods costs $80,000 to $180,000. A riverside property in Encarnación costs $60,000 to $130,000. A colonial home in San Bernardino costs $70,000 to $150,000. For American retirees who own property in the United States, selling and buying in Paraguay can eliminate housing costs entirely, leaving Social Security to cover everything else. Paraguay remains one of geography's great paradoxes, a territory bigger than Germany or Japan, soil that could feed a continent, river systems carrying more fresh water than almost anywhere on Earth, and just 7 million people, a third of them in a single city, leaving the rest of this extraordinary country to the cattle, the soy fields, the forests, and the silence. Its map wasn't drawn by nature, it was drawn by a colonial river port, by the economics of cattle and soy farming, by the aftermath of the most catastrophic war in South American history, and by generations of young people who left looking for something bigger. But for American retirees looking for something different, something stable, something safe, something genuinely affordable, Paraguay's empty map isn't a warning, it's an invitation to a country where your Social Security check covers everything and then some, where the beef is extraordinary and a full dinner costs almost nothing, where the people are warm and the pace of life reminds you what retirement was always supposed to feel like. Paraguay chose resilience over reputation, growth over glamour, and in doing so, it created something genuinely rare in the modern world, a country that is almost empty and almost perfect. Before we wrap up, if Paraguay is seriously on your radar, here are 10 facts you need to know before you make the move. Fact number 1. Paraguay generates nearly 100% of its electricity from clean hydropower. The Itaipu Dam, a massive binational facility shared with Brazil, is one of the largest hydroelectric plants on Earth and alone supplies the majority of Paraguay's electricity. Combined with the Yacyretá Dam shared with Argentina, these two plants provide over 99% of Paraguay's electricity generation. Paraguay produces so much more power than it needs that it exports the surplus to its neighbors, making it one of the largest per capita exporters of clean electricity in the world. For retirees, this means among the lowest electricity costs in South America and a grid powered by a genuinely clean source. Fact number 2, your U.S. Social Security benefits are paid in full, even if you live in Paraguay. Paraguay is not on the Social Security Administration's list of countries where payments are restricted. Your check arrives every month in full, deposited directly into your U.S. bank account, which you can then transfer to Paraguay or access through international ATMs. Fact number 3, Paraguay's retirement residency process is among the fastest in Latin America. Most retirement visa applicants receive permanent residency within 60 to 90 days, with no large investment required. No other country in the hemisphere makes the path from application to permanent residency this direct. This matters enormously for retirees who want certainty quickly and don't want to spend years in legal limbo. Fact number 4, Paraguay has no inheritance tax and no wealth tax on foreign assets. For retirees with investment portfolios, retirement accounts, or property in the United States, this is significant. Paraguay will not tax assets you hold outside the country. Combined with the territorial tax system on foreign income, Paraguay offers one of the most favorable tax environments for American retirees in the world. Fact number 5, Paraguay has avoided the currency crises that have devastated its neighbors. While Argentina has experienced repeated bouts of hyperinflation that wiped out the savings of ordinary people, Paraguay has maintained controlled inflation, averaging around 4% annually over the last decade. The Guarani has gradually weakened against the dollar over time, as most currencies do, but Paraguay has never experienced the kind of economic collapse that has trapped retirees in countries like Argentina. Your purchasing power in Paraguay is predictable. which is exactly what retirees on fixed incomes need. Fact number 6. Paraguay is the 3rd largest exporter of soybeans and the 8th largest exporter of beef in the entire world. This is a country of just 7 million people, producing food at a scale that feeds hundreds of millions. What that means for retirees practically is that fresh, high-quality food is extraordinarily affordable because it is grown and raised right there. Beef, produce, dairy, all of it is local, fresh, and cheap. Fact number 7. Paraguay has 2 official languages, Spanish and Guarani. Guarani is a fully indigenous language spoken by the majority of the population as a mother tongue or second language, making Paraguay one of the only countries in the Americas where an indigenous language has maintained true national status alongside Spanish. For retirees who want more than just a beach and a cheap meal, Paraguay offers genuine cultural depth and a living connection to pre-colonial history that you will not find anywhere else in the hemisphere. Fact number 8, after 3 years of permanent residency, you can apply for Paraguayan citizenship. The total timeline from first arrival, including 2 years of temporary residency before permanent residency and processing time, typically runs 5 to 7 years. But Paraguayan citizenship is worth the wait. Your passport provides visa-free or visa on arrival access to approximately 145 countries, including the entire European Union, the United Kingdom, Japan, Canada, and Australia. For American retirees who want a second passport as a backup plan, Paraguay offers one of the most accessible pathways in the world. Fact number 9. Paraguay has the lowest flat income tax rate in South America, just 10% on locally sourced income. And because of the territorial tax system, most retirees living off foreign pensions or Social Security pay 0 Paraguayan income tax at all. No capital gains tax on foreign assets, no inheritance tax, no wealth tax. For retirees who have spent decades paying some of the highest tax rates in the developed world, Paraguay's tax structure is genuinely startling. Fact number 10. Paraguay is the only landlocked country in the Americas with a meaningful navy. That's a quirky fact, but it points to something real. Paraguay has invested heavily in its river systems, which serve as internal highways for trade, recreation, and travel. The Paraguay and Parana rivers are among the most important in South America, connecting the country to the Atlantic and to its neighbors. What that means practically for retirees is spectacular river scenery, fresh river fish on every menu, and riverfront living at prices that would be impossible on an ocean coast. Paraguay isn't the loudest retirement destination. It doesn't have the marketing budget of Costa Rica or the name recognition of Portugal. But for retirees who do their research, who look past the obvious choices and dig into the data, Paraguay keeps appearing at the top of every list that actually matters. Fastest residency, lowest taxes, most affordable cost of living, controlled inflation, fastest growing economy in the region. A country that is almost empty and almost perfect. Now, I want to hear from you. Would you consider retiring in Paraguay? And which appeals to you more, the energy and infrastructure of Asunción, the riverside lifestyle of Encarnación, or the colonial lakeside charm of San Bernardino? Leave your answer in the comments below.